Footsteps echoed down my hallway before I even realized what was happening. Boxes thudded against the floor. Furniture scraped against walls. Movers, complete strangers, were filing into my home, arms loaded with belongings that weren't theirs. And at the front, my sister-in-law, Jenna, led the charge, her husband trailing behind with that smug, casual air, like this house had already been claimed. They didn't knock. They didn't ask. They just showed up. I watched as they hauled boxes in, dumped them in my living room, then disappeared outside to fetch more. I must have been dreaming until I stepped into my bedroom, my sanctuary, and saw Jenna's floral comforter stretched across my bed, my nightstand shoved aside, my clothes shoved into a plastic tub, crammed like garbage. She turned to me, smiling as if this were perfectly normal. "This just makes sense, doesn't it? We'll be staying here for a while. You've got the space." She said it like she was doing me a favor, like she was offering a kindness. I stood there, calm, my chest burning, refusing to flinch. Any hint of weakness would give them the upper hand. Instead, I excused myself to the kitchen and made a phone call I had used to admire Jenna. When I first married Daniel, I thought she was warm, protective, the sister I never had. She smiled at me during family dinners, whispered advice on surviving in-laws, made me feel like I belonged. But that kindness had a sharp edge. Little jabs slipped under compliments. She mocked my job, teased my budget wardrobe, questioned every choice I made in my own home. At first, I dismissed it. Families tease. They test. But with Jenna, it escalated. One night, Daniel admitted it. "She's jealous of you." I laughed at the time. Jealousy seemed too small a word. Now, watching movers deposit her furniture in my living room, I understood. Jealousy wasn't small. It was invasive, parasitic, consuming everything I had. I called the movers company. "Pack everything back into the truck," I said, my voice steady measured. They looked at me, then back at Jenna. She laughed, dismissing me. "She doesn't mean that," she said, waving a hand. But I repeated myself, louder, firmer, with the authority of the person whose name was on the mortgage. Piece by piece, her invasion was undone. Jenna's face morphed, confusion, anger, disbelief. "What? You can't do this. We're family." I didn't answer. I simply watched her comforter folded, her dresser carried out, her boxes loaded back onto the truck. Her husband muttered something about a misunderstanding. I said nothing. No explanation owed. Revenge wasn't a single strike. It lived in the aftermath, in dismantling their arrogance quietly. I set my plan in motion. Photos of movers bringing in her furniture, receipts for damage to my walls, a recording of her declaring she'd be staying for a while, evidence in case she tried to rewrite the story. Then I called my lawyer. We updated my property protections, added a formal trespass notice, tightened access rights. One wrong step from them, and the law could remove them in handcuffs. But I wasn't done. Next came the social strike. Jenna thrived on appearances, priding herself on family gatherings and online posts about unity. I exposed her, not to the world, only to those who mattered most to her reputation. At the next family dinner, as she tried to dominate the table with her usual theatrics, I slid my phone across to Daniel's parents. A silent video played. Movers bringing her furniture into my home without permission. I said nothing. The look on their faces, disappointment, embarrassment, disgust, was enough. Jenna's laughter faltered. Her dominance vanished. For the first time, she was small. The final confrontation came a week later. She showed up unannounced again, empty-handed this time, trying to smooth things over. "Let's not fight," she said, plastering on her fake smile. "We're family. Family shares." I let her speak, let her dig her hole deeper. Then I leaned against the doorframe and delivered the final blow. "You're right. Family shares, but respect isn't optional. After what you try to take from me, you've lost the right to call yourself my family." Her smile crumbled. Her eyes flickered with something I hadn't seen before. Fear. She realized I wasn't afraid of her anymore. I closed the door. Since then, silence. No more unannounced visits. No more smug laughter at family gatherings. No more attempts to invade my space. The word spread. Everyone knew, not because I shouted,